in this video, we're in the middle of winter, and I was able to ask this wonderful model, whose name is Ohla, and I said, hey, I'm going to try doing this effect. And what it is, it's taking a still frame and shooting it from multiple angles and making it look like it's one frame, but the camera's moving instead of just the model. I think the key thing about bullet time is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to give the idea of a moment frozen in time. And it's, if you're going to ask a model to stand still for that length of time while you move a single camera, it's no secret that the model needs to stand completely still, but also there needs to be something which is of that frozen in moment time. If you're anything like me, you haven't got 120 cameras stashed away or enough software to float a small mainframe, but you have a will to create something a little bit different. And at the moment, your hair's not going up. It's very difficult to do and look convincing and natural at the same time, because, you know, it's a kind of...
So you want to do it like a...
What I said to Ohla is, can you somehow get your hair to go up? And when you flick your head or something like that, we capture that single moment in time, and then the camera returns to where it was, and then you just go about your normal business. And Ohla said, yeah, we can do that. And what she actually did, which was really innovative, I've got to say, was that she bought a pair of white and red bunny ears, and she paper clipped great clumps of her hair to the ears. And then for the rest of her hair, she held it in place. She sprayed a load of product in place to keep it up there, as you can see.
Time as well. It's not my usual thing that I do each day. Because this doesn't have to be down.
I wouldn't worry too much. Oh, well done. God, good job. Oh, bloody hell, that's incredible. Are you recording this, by the way?
Yes.
Oh, well done. We started off in video mode, something like 100 frames per second, in HD on a Panasonic S5. It's not great quality, but it will have to do because you can't shoot 4K at 100 frames per second on the Panasonic. And then when we switched to the bullet time effect, I switched to the photographic mode on the camera and shot sequentially as I described an orbital move round Ohla. Now I only needed to go one way because I boomeranged the same shots back again. So that was 55 frames going in that one direction, and then we just reversed the 55 frames in the edit. So my great idea, and this is where things slightly unraveled a little bit on the shoot. So we put Ohla's mark down, and that's where she needed to stand to do all the effects. Again, at this end, I'm just going to tie it to another small piece of... And we put my mark down, and then we tied a piece of string going between the two. I quickly gave up on using that string. In fact, we also had things like bits of new spring crocuses coming up and all that kind of thing. In fact, that became a hindrance. So my first tip is use flat ground. The string thing, could work quite well. The second tip I have is if you are asking a model to hold a pose, create a pose which is going to be easier for her to do. Ohla mentioned that she found holding her arms as still as that for roughly 10 minutes created such a strain. And if you look very closely at the shot, you can see micro movement from Ohla, of course you can, but basically because I sped it up, it's not quite as obvious as it would have been. One other thing about the shoot that's really worth thinking about is what you're going to shoot on. I recommend using a monopod, and you can move quickly from one frame to the next, and I could have just easily put some guide marks on the frame or something like that. So when I brought the shots into Premiere, unfortunately Warp Stabilizer didn't work. In After Effects, camera controls, they didn't work either. So I ended up manually shifting each frame using Photoshop, and I actually put the first frame in, used it as a reference, put the second frame in over the top, adjusted opacity so that I could see the frames were matching, because I knew that when the effect was in full swing, most people are going to be just looking at Ohla. They're not going to be looking left or right of the shot. So, and left and right of Ohla, I just used motion blur. So it's worth taking a look at these two frames as well, as they are quite badly out of alignment. And so here's the shift of one frame. It's not quite straight though, so using Control T in Photoshop, I've adjusted the angle by maybe 1 degree, something like that. Zoom right in to check. It looks lined up, but you've got to go in a little bit closer than that, and you can see now it's aligned. There's also one more problem with these frames, and that's a little bit of a gust of wind that's caught the dress. So that was also a fairly easy quick fix, because I used a lasso tool. I picked up a detail of the dress from the frame before, Control C to copy it, and then Control V to layer onto the next layer. And now if you look between the two, it's gone. I mean, I think that's where you are really drilling down into the fine detail, and that is what is going to make the difference on a shoot like this. Right, so there's one final piece of advice that I'd like to impart, and that is, however much you think you've lined up your camera, you've lined up your subject, you probably haven't. Ohla's elbows were just slightly bent in a different position. It didn't mean a big deal because the effect is so fast, but again, it's just one of those things that's worth bearing in mind. So on the last frame of the video, hold the frame, have a good close-up look in the viewfinder, and then make sure that the beginning of the bullet time matches that last frame. Anyway, I hope that's been useful for you. I hope you've got something out of this. I'm definitely going to do more of this kind of shot because quite inspired really. And I think what I'll do next time is controlled lighting, bring it inside, maybe put the camera on a rail with motion control, so that will make the whole thing look a little bit smoother. You can probably say goodbye to any wind effects. You can say goodbye to any extraneous movement from the camera or the subject, and you can make life a little bit easier. Thanks very much. Bye bye.